Hello students. So in this video, I am going to analyze the budget part for UPSC examination. So as you know that budget has already announced on 1st Feb 2024 for the upcoming financial year, that is financial year 24-25. This year budget is a special budget. Why? Because it is an interim budget. Now before you listen this analysis part, it's a humble request to all of you that you must first go through the budget speech of finance minister. Okay, so either you can directly listen from the YouTube or you can download the document from finance ministry website. So when you open the finance ministry website, so you will find one link, that is Union Budget and Economic Survey. So when you click over this, so you will get this window. So here there is one document with the name speech. So when you open this speech document, so 32-page speech document will be open in front of you. So I want that you must go through quickly through this document. Okay, and if you are not going, then also it's okay. I am here to do analysis part for you. Okay, so this is a 32-page document that you have to first go through, or you can say you must skim through this document. Clear? So you can go it in a, you can say in a very fast manner, that is in 30-40 minutes. Okay, now the speech of the finance minister, I would like to divide in 4 parts. So if you see the speech of the finance minister, she has talked about, or you can say this speech has 4 parts. Number 1, in the beginning, she talks about the achievement which her government has achieved in last 10 years. That is from 2014 onwards. Second part of the speech talks about the means or the methods through which such achievement has been achieved. For example, in this second part, we'll talk about the concept of GDP. So don't get confused between, you can say, with gross domestic product. Here, the finance minister has given a new acronym for GDP. That is governance, development and performance. So you can say GDP stands for both gross domestic product as well as you can see that it stands for governance, development and performance. Third part of the speech talks about that whatever sector specific targets for this financial year, this means that is upcoming financial year, that is for financial year 24 to 25, which starts from 1st April 2024 to 25. So she has talked about that also in third part of the speech. And fourth part of the speech will talk about numbers. So if you understood this thing, so my analysis will be in 4 parts. So in this video, we are going to talk about only first part of the analysis. So when I am saying first part, so I'll talk about only whatever achievements of the government with respect to inclusive development and growth that they have mentioned in this speech. So we'll begin with first part. Now in the first part, so I'll request you that if you have that handout with you that I told you to download from the ministry website, so it will be like this. So it will be better for you so that you can make your notes there itself. Now if you see first part, so she talks about introduction. So how she had given the introduction, that in the term 1 of Modi government, the mantra is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. So this was the mantra of Modi government. When she is saying this is the mantra, so what was her emphasis? That she said that with this mantra, whatever previous challenges we have before 2014, we have overcome those challenges. For example, inflation. For example, jobless growth. So she said we followed this mantra in our term 1, and with that, with this mantra, we have introduced structural reforms, pro-people programs, and conditions were created for opportunities. So you can understand in this way structural reforms like introduction of GST, introduction of demonetization. So these are structural reforms. So government wants Sabka Saath for that, because whatever structural reforms we are bringing, So government emphasized that that cannot be possible without sabka saath, and you have seen that people have contributed, or you can say accepted, such structural reforms. Then pro people programs. Pro people programs like introduction of cashless economy, like you can say UPI. So we have formulated UPI, or government has come out with UPI in such a way that UPI is now used by everyone. Okay. Then opportunities. So best example is startups. Now in term 2, government says our mantra is sabka saath, sabka vikas and sabka vishwas. So this is what she mentioned in the beginning of her speech. So when she is saying sabka vishwas, so whatever we have achieved or done in term 1, we want that it should reach to everyone. Then only we have sabka vishwas. Okay. So ultimately you can say mantra is expanded. Now in this, she said that we focused on social inclusivity and geographical inclusivity. So social inclusivity means including all the caste, and geographical inclusivity means including all the area of India. So no area should be left out. So for example, best example, we talked about aspirational districts. So this is the best example of geographical inclusivity. Now, even in the COVID time period, which government mentioned that once in a century pandemic or a challenge. So that time we, you can say, added another slogan or term in our mantra, that is Sabka Prayas. So ultimately Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, and now in COVID we introduce Sabka Prayas because it's a challenging time for everyone. It's for government also as well as for the citizens also. So they have added Sabka Prayas. Now you can use these terminologies in your exam, especially if I talk about your mains. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, and you can say Sabka Prayas, that is in the part of, or you can say during the troubling times, that is pandemic. Okay, so you can say this is what is our government strategy with respect to governance. So you can say governance approach 1 and 2. Now, moving further, if you see in the second, or you can say next, what finance minister has talked about in the speech is government idea behind inclusive development and growth. So if you see, government says that earlier the approach of the government was, that is before 2014, they focused on provisioning up to the village level. So this was the earlier approach. Now what it says, that when you are saying provisioning up to the village level, so for example, like earlier, if there is a electricity connection in one of the house in the village itself, so government used to declare it that now this village has electrified. But now government says we have shifted or departed from this approach, and now our new approach is target each and every household and individual. So ultimately, until and unless it reaches to the last house in the village or in urban area also, then only we'll say that it's a inclusive development and growth. So this is what provisioning up to the village level, or you can say we have shifted to target each and every household and individual. So this is what is the government, you can say, move from this approach to the new approach when we talk about inclusive development and growth. Now in this budget speech, finance minister has also talked about, you can say, the concept or philosophy of social justice, where, or you can say what our government think of social justice. So what they say is that there are 4 castes in the economy, and these 4 castes are basically Garib, that is poor person, Mahilai, that is women, Yuva, youth, and Annadata, that is farmer. So these are the 4 castes. Now when you see these 4 castes, what finance minister stated, that the country progresses when they progress. Now next, what she said, that our government is working with an approach to development that is all round, all pervasive and all inclusive. So ultimately all round development, all pervasive and all inclusive. So you can see that this is what is their approach, or you can say change in approach, that is from earlier approach of provisioning up to the village level to target each and every household and individual. So this is the major change. So that is why she said that social justice include all round, all pervasive and all inclusive development and growth for everyone to make India a Viksit Bharat by 2047. So this is what she said, that if we provide, or you can say ensure development and growth of these four castes. So these four castes is Garib person, that is poor person, women's, Yuva and Annadata. Then only we can achieve our target of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Now, so ultimately, if you have understood that what government strategy, or earlier what was the change in the strategy of the government with respect to, you can say, governance of the country. So we can say social justice. If you see the moral lesson that what government wants to say, social justice is an effective and necessary governance model. And now she says that as per my government, that is as per, you can say, current government, social justice, they believe in that it is secularism in action, that when you serve all these four caste reduces corruption and prevent nepotism. Okay, prevent, that is nepotism. So here four caste, I hope now you understood what are those four caste. These four caste are Garib, Mahilai, Yuva and Annadata. So when you are able to ensure that these things are in action, reduces corruption as well as prevents nepotism. Clear? So you can see this way. Okay. Now we'll talk about these four castes one by one. So this is what your finance speech, you can say speech given by the finance minister in budget. So you can see there. Now Garib Kalyan, Desh Ka Kalyan. We believe in empowering the poor. So government says that earlier the approach was entitlement, means providing them, you can say, some in the form of, you can say, food items and all those things. So ultimately government says this entitlement is responsible for making the Garib person dependent on the government. But what we want, that poor become empowered partner in the development process. So this is what government has talked about in its budget speech with respect to, you can say, Garib Kalyan, Desh Ka Kalyan. So ultimately approach has been changed. So this is what finance minister has emphasized in the budget speech. Now second, if you see in the same budget speech, she has talked about some schemes like PM Swanidhi, PM Vishwakarma Yojana, PM Janman Yojana, schemes for empowerment of Divyangs and transgender and direct benefit transfer. So if you see in DBT, what she said, that when we introduce DBT, so DBT is able to provide benefit of worth rupees 34 lakh crores from the government using Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana. So ultimately it also helped government in saving around rupees 2.7 lakh crores. So you can remember these numbers, because sometimes you need to remember some numbers which you have to quote in your mains examination. Okay. Then PM Swanidhi. So she has talked about that PM Swanidhi has provided credit assistance to 70 lakh street vendors. 70 lakh street vendors. Out of that 70 lakh street vendors, 2.3 lakh have received credit for the third time. So this is what is an achievement that government has emphasized. Now, this PM Vishwakarma Yojana. So here she said that there are some 18 trades under which they are going to support artisans and craft people. Similarly, Janman Yojana, that is for, you can say, vulnerable tribal group. And then comes scheme for empowerment of Divyangs and transgender. So if you see that scheme, so ultimately it reflects that government is firm, you can say, is trying to resolve our government to leave no one behind. So ultimately they are covering each and every one in, you can say, Garib Kalyan, that is Garib Kalyan, Desh Ka Kalyan. Okay, so this is what they are providing. Even if you see the last year budget also. So in last year budget, they said that benefit must reach to everyone, even poor prisoners, those who are in prison. So government has talked about them also in last budget. Clear? So ultimately it shows government, you can say, intention to reach everyone and leave no one, you can say. Now, welfare of Annadata. So we'll talk about farmers. You can say second caste as mentioned by finance minister, okay, in her budget speech. Now, with respect to agriculture, what she said, that if you see that our focus is that what is our approach in agriculture, first of all your policies or our policies must be farmer centric policies. Okay. Second, income support. Third, coverage of risk through price and insurance support. And next is promotion of technologies and innovation through startups. So this is what is the government holistic approach with respect to you can say agriculture sector. Now if you have understood this thing, you can see that here also we have talked about some schemes with respect to agriculture. Like if I talk about PM Kisan Samman Yojana, this is what she has used these schemes in her budget speech. Every year under PM Kisan Samman Yojana, direct financial assistance is provided to 11.8 crore farmers. So roughly I am telling you around there are 25 crore farmers. Okay. So out of that 11.8 crore farmers get benefit. Okay. So if you search on Google, so somewhere you will find 15 to 16 crore farmers and somewhere you will find around 23 to 25 crore farmers. So ultimately if you take tenant farmers also, so it will be more than or in a range of 20 to 25 crore farmers. So out of that 11.8 crore farmers get benefit. Now PM Fasal Bima Yojana. So crop insurance is given to 4 crore farmers under PM Fasal Bima Yojana. So ultimately a great number. Now this ENAM. Now ENAM is a game changer. So you can say it increases the bargaining power of the farmer. So if you see ENAM, so ENAM till now has integrated around 13,1,361 or you can say around 1400 mandis. So you can take a round of that number because you have to remember for your exam also. Okay, 1361 mandis and is providing services to 1.8 crore farmers. So still we have to achieve more things also in order to ensure that every Annadata get the benefit. And if you see the volume, that is 3 lakh crores. So you can say farmer trading volume of around 3 lakh crore is there. Now we'll talk about empowering Amrit Pidi, the Yuva. So you can say youth. So whatever terminology is used by the government, you can use in your exam. Okay. Now here if you see, so government, you can say in her budget speech, she stated our prosperity depends on adequately equipping and empowering the youth. So you can say more and more youth either become job creator or job seeker. Okay. So ultimately here focus is on job creator. Then only we can ensure the growth and development, or you can say particularly GDP of the country will increase. So if you see with respect to youth, in the budget speech, they have emphasized on, you can say 5 components. Number 1, school education. So for school education, she said, we have introduced National Education Policy 2020. And second, she said that we have introduced PM Shri schools, that is PM schools for rising India. So you can expect a question in prelims from this PM Shri. Okay, are delivering quality teaching and nurturing holistic and well-rounded individuals. Now, for working age youth, so our focus is to provide them skills. So ultimately, government understands the relevance of the skill. The Skill India Mission has trained 1.4 crore youths, upskilled and reskilled 54 lakh youth and established 3,000 new ITIs. Okay. Now for higher education also, government has what they have done, that government has new institute of higher learning. For example, 7 IITs has been established in last 10 years, 16 triple IITs, 7 IIMs, 15 AIMS and 390 universities has been set up. Okay. So you can say infrastructure for higher education has been set up. Okay, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Now for job creators, government has provided them Mudra loans. So you can say under PM Mudra Yojana, around 43 crore loans has been, you can say, sanctioned, which amounts to 22.5 lakh crores for entrepreneur aspirations of our youth. Similarly, we have funds of fund, Startup India, Startup Credit Guarantee schemes that are assisting our youth. Clear. And also you will see that they are now becoming Rozgar Data. Okay. So just like Annadata, we call them Rozgar Data. So you have seen that so many startups are there. Okay, so many job creators are now there. Okay, so this is what they are now called as Rozgar Data. Now, when we talk about sports, so they have also mentioned about sports. So in sports, they have said that we have a highest number of, you can say, medals in 2023. Okay, especially they have mentioned about Asian Games and Asian Para Games. So ultimately, you can say we are talking about disabled person here, Divyangs. Now, even if you see in chess, so we have number one rank player that has, you can say, defeated the world champion Magnus Carlsen in 2023. Okay. So ultimately government has talked about, you can say, chess also. Okay. And now they are saying that we have over 80 chess grandmasters compared to little over 20 in 2010. So ultimately chess grandmaster has increased. Clear? Now Nari Shakti. So this is the fourth caste. So ultimately we have already talked about Garib person. Okay, Garib Kalyan, Desh ka Kalyan. We have already talked about Yuva, that is youth. We have already talked about Annadata, that is farmer. And now we are talking about, you can say, women, Nari Shakti. Now if you see, with respect to empowerment of women, government has stated that our focus is on three pillars or three things: entrepreneurship, ease of living, and dignity for the women. Now, if you see, to achieve these things, entrepreneurship and ease of living, government said we have now come out with 30 crore Mudra Yojana loans has been given to women entrepreneurs. So although you can see here in youth part, we have talked about that government has given a total of 43 crore loans. Okay, 43 crore loans, that is to the youth. So it means out of that 30 crore Mudra Yojana loan has been given to women entrepreneurs. So 43. So ultimately out of 43, 30 crore loans has been sanctioned for whom? That is women's. Now female enrollment in higher education has gone up by 28% in 10 years. So ultimately again it is interlinked. So a large number of new institutions of higher learning, namely 7 IITs, 16 triple IITs, 7 IIMs, 15 AIMS and 390 universities has been set up. So ultimately result can be seen here that female enrollment in higher education has gone up by 28%. So again this and that data both are interrelated. Okay. Now similarly in STEM courses, that is with respect to your science and technology, girls and women constitute 43% of enrollment, one of the highest in the world. So again you have to remember this number for your exam. So ultimately we can say all these measures that we have seen, that is in terms of Mudra Yojana loans, female enrollment in higher education that has increased by 28%, and all these measures and ultimately STEM courses, all these measures are getting reflected in the increasing participation of women in workforce. So this is what you have to remember. Now with respect to dignity, you can see that here we have talked about that government has mentioned about that we have, you can say, make triple talaq illegal. So ultimately it has ensured dignity to the women. Next, if you see, reservation of 1/3 seats for women in the Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly. So again they have, you can say, come out with or talk about dignity. So when now women also, you can say, participate in politics. Now over 70% houses under PM Awas Yojana, 70%, again a big number, in rural areas to women as a sole or joint owners have enhanced their dignity. So ultimately over 70% houses that is under PM Awas Yojana are in the name of women as a ownership, or you can say women as holding those houses. So either individually or you can say joint, means either you can say with the male counterpart of the family. So ultimately it also has now increased the dignity of the women. So this is what you have to remember with respect to, you can say, first part, or you can say part 1 of budget analysis. So soon I'll come with part 2, part 3 and part 4. So this is the first part. So if you see the first part, so in first part, just a quick revision. So as I told you in the beginning, that speech of the finance ministry, or you can get the speech from the ministry link. Okay, that is finance ministry link. So already I told you. So I have made easy for you. Okay, that original document that you will take time to read. So ultimately I have divided this speech of finance ministry in 4 parts. So first part, finance minister talks about their achievement in last 10 years. So you can say Modi government achievement in last 10 years, that is from 2014 onwards. Second part, they talked about that in order to achieve those, you can say whatever achievement we have in last 10 years, so we have changed our methods or means to achieve that. So that is why I mentioned GDP. So GDP, they talked about that governance, development and performance. Similarly, in second part, we'll see that she'll talk about, you can say, economic management, global context, what will be our future strategy and vision for Amrit Kal. So this is what we are going to see in second part of the speech. Third part, we'll talk about sector specific target for upcoming financial year. Like when I am saying sector specific, so again I am telling you here we'll focus on sectors like infrastructure, agriculture, key what will be the target, health sector. So sector specific target for this financial year. This means upcoming financial year, which starts from 1st April 2024 onward. And fourth part, we'll talk about numbers. So this is what I have divided your lecture in 4 parts. Okay. So already I have covered what is the, you can say in introduction, what is the government mantra for first term and second term. Okay. And in between when COVID come, so they have added another term, that is new term in the mantra, Sabka Prayas. And then we have seen that what government include or means about inclusive development and growth, government philosophy of social justice, okay, and ultimately forecast. So these forecasts they have talked about. Clear? So I hope if you listen this thing, so it will help you to memorize the budget speech itself, because budget speech will help you to write a good answer in your mains, as well as there are some numbers which will help you to, or you can say UPSC can ask you in prelims. So you must go through these, you can say original documents. Clear? So after listening my lecture, it will be easy for you to memorize the original document. Clear? So I hope you learned something, you enjoyed this lecture, and stay tuned for next 3 parts. So soon you will get on YouTube link itself. So we'll meet soon. Till then, Jai Hind and have a nice day.